Hi everyone, I hope you had a good weekend. A lot of you guys might recognize this location because I'm pretty sure I filmed my first couple of videos here. I want to mention one thing before I get into the review, mainly because whenever I mention that I love Sailor Moon, a lot of you guys comment and say that you were pretty obsessed with it when you were younger too. On my last video where I did a couple of tags, someone commented, I'll put their name here because I don't remember, but they said that Sailor Moon is coming back summer of 2013. It's only a year, so I'm very excited. I was pulling out all my Sailor Moon toys when I was younger because I was just so excited. I don't know if any of you guys will recognize this stuff. These were the toys you could buy at like KB Toys. That was the only place that sold Sailor Moon stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'll put a link below for information about that. A week or two back, I finished Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This was actually her first novel. I had previously read Dark Places, her second novel, and I will link my review of that below. So onto the plot of the story. Camille Preaker is a reporter for a very small Chicago newspaper, and her boss is always looking for that next big story that they can uncover first so that their paper can kind of be pushed into the big leagues with all the other top newspapers. He sends Camille back to her hometown of Wind Gap, Missouri to investigate the murder of two preteen girls. Camille has just gotten back from a short stay in a mental hospital. She's an alcoholic, she's a cutter, and all of these negative attributes that she have can be attributed to relationships that she had back home. She hasn't visited her home in years, so obviously she is none too pleased to be going back, but she wants to prove herself as a writer, so she kind of grudgingly decides to go. So that's where the story takes off. A good portion of the book is her dealing with her demons back home and her family members and their relationships and her friends, and then another good portion is her investigating these murders. So it's part mystery, part thriller, part horror, and then there is a little bit of romance in there. So I think there's something for everyone, unless you like books that are more targeted for a younger audience. So onto the characters. Camille is a particularly interesting character because on the one hand, she is that kind of stereotypical kick-ass, tough female, but on the other hand, especially depending upon who she's talking to and what characters she's around, she can be incredibly vulnerable and even weak. Another key character in the book is Adora, Camille's mother. Adora reminds me actually a lot of her house. Her house is this big, beautiful Victorian mansion, and Adora is very beautiful and put together, but on the inside, everything is ugly and cruel and cold. She's probably one of the coldest characters I've ever read, particularly just in the way that she speaks to Camille. It's just disgusting, and it always is making shivers go up my spine. The other key characters is Amma. I don't know if I mentioned her in the summary. She is Camille's half-sister, so she's the daughter of Adora and Adora's new husband. Kind of like her mother, where on the outside she seems to be this beautiful, sweet girl. At home, she's kind of just a typical immature 13-year-old princess who's very privileged, but externally when she's out with her friends or in public, she's just this cruel, vile little girl. She's also a bit of a seductress, which was always hard for me to comprehend. It is only, I think, around 260 pages, but it does really pack a punch. If someone had recommended a book to me and it was that short, I probably would think that there couldn't be very much detail, very much character development, just not a lot to it, but this book is really dense. And when I say dense, I don't mean that the font is small. I just mean that she is able to pack so much in, and I felt as if I got to know her characters more, and they seem more realistic to me than what books twice its length. I just think that Gillian Flynn is a better writer than most of the authors that I read. I can't really think of another author who could make me care for characters and really get so invested in a story that is quite short. Her writing's just concise and it's gritty. It's constantly punching you in the stomach, and it's also quite sensual in a weird way. The book is called Sharp Objects, but in this book, the sharp objects are those tangible physical ones like the razor blade on the cover, but they're also the verbal ones. You know, the phrase, "a biting tongue," has never felt more applicable than to one of the antagonists in this book. So if you're interested in a book that is dark and twisted yet beautiful, I recommend Sharp Objects. I would say go ahead and read this before Dark Places just because I think it's a good jumping off point for her books. The only negative I would say about this was that I think too much was packed into the epilogue. So many key events occur there that I wish maybe could have been delved more into, but at the same time, it kind of packs more of a punch when it does happen so quickly. So with that, guys, you can probably tell I need to stop gushing. I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to read her next book, which just came out. 2 other books that I've read that I'm not going to review now because I just don't want to spend so much time reviewing books on this channel because I don't have time to do other types of videos. So I will link my reviews of these down below on Goodreads. I read the graphic novel Brain Camp, which was a lot of fun. This is a YA one. And I read The Gargoyle by Andrew Davidson, so I'll link both of my reviews of these down below. Time so quickly, I'm going to show you the books that I got for my birthday. This is probably no surprise. I got Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This is her new book. It just came out, I think, last week, and I saw on her Facebook page, I think, that it did come out at #1, so that's really exciting. And I know the protagonist of this is male, which will also be really interesting because her books do deal so much with the psyche of women and their relationships. It's interesting to see that this is going to be about a man. Next, I got Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I showed this in my last video, and Unwind by Neal Shusterman. And I did go ahead and pick up, and this is rare for me because it's a brand new book by author I haven't read. This is a book I haven't read, but since my parents got it for me, I didn't feel so bad, and that is Divergent by Veronica Roth. I'm excited to get started with this, but I might hold off and wait until I'm away at school where I can't really deal well with library books. And then finally, this isn't exactly a book, but I wanted to show you guys. It's The Making of Harry Potter. It's a pretty quick read. I don't know if they sell this at places like Barnes & Noble, but my parents got this because my dad is working in London. My mom went to visit them, and excuse me, and they went on the set tour of Harry Potter. I am just still seething with jealousy, but I am excited to look through this, and I can just pretend that I was there. So that is it. Let me know if you've read any of Gillian Flynn's books and what you thought of them, obviously without giving away spoilers. If you have any other books that seem similar to this type of genre and you think I might like them, let me know and let anybody else know, and I'll see you soon. Bye.